In this video, I'm going to show you some of the availability that you have to manage your notebooks. So in the previous videos, I was taking you to Office 365 portal and we were clicking on Class Notebook so that you can see your options here. But I do want to let you know that you can access these options through Windows app for OneNote or OneNote 2016. So if I have OneNote 2016 open, I have the class notebook already downloaded and installed in this application here. So if I click class notebook, I do see those options here. So if I was to choose manage notebooks, all it does is take me online to my Office 365 into the manage notebook section already. So again, I could do the same thing in the app. If I click on the app and I click on class notebook, I have the options here as well. You just kind of have to hover over them to see. I can create a notebook, I can add or remove students, add or remove teachers, and then manage from this view as well. So you can do the managing and adding and removing students straight from your notebooks. So if I go ahead and click Manage Notebooks, again it's just going to take me online directly into the Manage Notebook piece in my Office 365 portal. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find the notebook that I want to add the teacher only section. So you can see in these notebooks I do have that enabled, but in this particular notebook I do not have the teacher only section group enabled. So this will be permanently added once you choose to do this. So the benefit of adding the teacher only section is it gives you a place where you can start building your notebook and then distribute from that out to the student section. So think of this as like your master notebook, if you will, and where you want to put things that maybe you don't want students to have access to just yet. Or if you are using this as a class notebook, this would be a place where maybe you and the other administrators or people that have edit rights to the notebook are working on documents or pages or sections, and you want to then push them out to the student or teacher notebooks at a later time. So I'm going to go ahead and click Enable Teacher Only Section Group, and then what that does is it's going to set up that teacher only section in my notebook. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that staff notebook in the Windows 10 app. Now you can see here is that notebook. It's called Staff Notebook, and you don't see the teacher only section. So what I can do is I can actually go to that staff notebook and I can sync that notebook, and then what will happen is we will see that teacher only section group pop in, and there it is. So I can see the teacher only section, and if I expand that, again it's going to give me kind of a little overview of what the teacher only section group will do and walk me through how to best utilize it. So again, it's a section where I can put things that I'm not necessarily ready for my students to have access to yet, and then I can share them out at a later time. So that's the teacher only section group. Creating guest links for parents or guardians is extremely helpful and useful if you want your parents to view the notebook. So I'm in the Windows 10 app and I'm going to do the Manage Notebooks icon. I'm going to click on that, and it's just going to take me online again to my Office 365 portal, and I'm going to find the notebook that I want to be working with. So I'm going to use this staff notebook here, and you can see I have a place right here for parent and guardian links. So if I click parent and guardian links, I can get a link for an individual student notebook, so I can find the individual student that I want to select, or I can choose all students. So if I click all students and then I click get links, what's going to happen is it's going to go ahead and open up a document for me that is going to contain all of the individual notebooks for my students. I can export those, it opens up an Excel document right here. I can copy this link and I can send it to the parent, so then they have view access to the notebook. So it allows them to still have access to the notebook, see what's going on, see what the students are doing, but they will not have edit rights. So they have view only access, but you can get these individual notebooks for the students so they can kind of stay up to date with what's happening in class as well. Another one of my favorite features of managing notebooks is the collaboration space permissions. So again, I'm here in my Office 365 portal under Manage Notebooks. I can get there by my my dashboard here by clicking Class Notebooks, Or when I'm in the app, remember I can always click the Manage Notebook icon, and then it will take me online to my Office 365 portal into the Manage Notebook section. So I'm going to go ahead and work with this notebook here. I'm going to click Collaboration Space Permissions, and then what happens is I already have some preset tabs in my notebook. So what's great about this is if I have certain sections in this collaboration space that I only want certain students to have access to, I'm going to go ahead and make those tabs ahead of time. So I have, in this case, Team 1, Team 2, and Team 3. So if I only want certain students to have access to these sections, I can do that here. Another example of this would be in a staff notebook. Let's say I only want 5th grade to have access to the 5th grade tab. I only want 4th grade to have access to the 4th grade tab. So then I would create my tabs ahead of time, and then I only allow certain teachers to have access to those. So this would be good for like PLC information, or different things that you're doing that you don't want other grade levels to necessarily have access to, or they might not even just need that in their notebook. So when they open their notebook, they're only going to see these particular sections available to them to edit. So again, collaboration space, they have edit access. So on Team 1, if I only want Team 1 to consist of Jennifer and Tim, then I click Save. And then I can close that out. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to work with Team 2. So if I want Team 2 to only be, so you can see now Team 1 is two students, and Team 2 I'm going to allow Scott and Bob to have access to that. So then I have chosen their names for that section, and then I'm going to close that out. If I get back in it, you can see that now for Team 3 I'm going to edit that. And in Team 3, so far I have 2 students in Team 1 and 2. So for Team 3, I'm going to choose Celie and Cindy. So I'm going to click Save there, and then close that out. So in the collaboration space, I have just given specific permissions to certain students to only have access to certain sections. So I've got my teams divided up, so that keeps other students from being able to have access to the different sections, like if you're doing a team project or something like that where you really want only certain students to have access. So if I go to my collaboration space, you can see here that I have Team 1, 2, and 3. So it's not going to work for me necessarily because I created the notebook, but only those 2 students would have access to these individual sections. So then they can do all of their brainstorming and all of their work here. So again, if this was a teacher access and a staff notebook, I could make this grade levels or certain teams or certain committees that only those people would need access to, and then everyone would not need those sections. So that's the great thing about the collaboration space, is you can give specific permissions to individual students or teachers.